So in the last class, we built a pipeline, basic pipeline, which is just copying from our storage account to SQLDB. Right? This was simple pipeline. We did not do any changes. That just push the data to SQL. So this is a copy activity. So when we are running this, when we are debugging this, it shows in the bottom, right? I'll show you something on this. I wanted to show you something on this. Let it run. Mhm. Just a second. Who else join? I think. Yep. Mm. Okay. But, so on this, right, when you come down here on this activity, if you have more activities, you will be seeing more activities here, one after the other. When you come here, you show there's something called input and output. So when you click on this, when you say input, you can see what has went inside. You can just read this. This is the JSON format. You can just go down and see what is going inside. Then you can see that employee ID string, physical type sync keys, employee ID int32 int. You can see some details, right? So again, when you come to the output, the same way you can understand what has come out of this. It says it is written to Azure SQL database region East US, start date and end date, how much time it took, and all details are there. So this input and output are important whenever if there are two activities. Say this is one activity, right? Whenever we want to connect two or one or more activities, what we do is take, say there is a different copy activity. Just I'll put it here. And on the when you hover on this activity, you can see these right side on this. You have these four options. One is skip, one is on success, one is on fail, on completion. So, what happens is when you click on this on success and drag and connect to this, what happens is when this activity is successful only, it will go to this activity, or else it will not go. Only if when it's successful. So if you say when it is fail, it will go when you pull from fail, whenever this activity fails, it will go to this activity, not on anything else. Okay. So then that is fail. Then there is another called on completion. When you say on completion, whether it is success or fail, when the activity is completed, this will go to next activity. So on completion is not success. It is just done. Whether it succeeds or fail also, it will go to this next activity. So yeah, tell me. Someone asking for something? Your Pankaj joined finally. Fine. Okay, so those are three things. So whenever we connect these activities, right? I today will be discussing on this activity, we could access the output of the previous activity, whether it is some value or which is some data, so that we can, the next activity can depend on the output of the previous activity, or a previous activity to this also. Say if you have another activity also like this. Okay, and just an example. Okay, so for this activity also, when you're working on this copy data activity, you can use the output of this activity or this activity also. Output may be anything. I'll show you what output can be with a different activity. If the output of this value is some A, and output of this copy activity is some B, you can use the value of A or B. You can even use output of this activity also, output of this activity also. So previous activities, when it is connected, you can use the values. So that will make use, and I will work on a different activity today. So what I'll do is I'll go to my storage account. I'll upload some files first so that we can have multiple files. Containers, input data, upload. I created some three CSV dummy files, A, B, C, D, E, F dummy.
Shashank, can you please
Yes,
share those files with us here on Zoom so that we could also try?
yes, yes. You're doing parallelly, right?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
send it
I'm
to you.
doing.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, share. Oh. Is it okay if I share it on WhatsApp? I think here, yeah, docs. Wait, docs, share docs, docs, docs. Oh, this is Zoom docs. Just a second. Just this is Zoom docs, right? How do we share it on Zoom? Because we were doing this on Google Meet. I am new to Zoom. Wait. Yeah, yeah, got it. Just a second. My computer downloads ABCDF dummy. Open. Yeah, I put the three CSV files here. Go back.
Yes, got it.
Yeah, so I have uploaded the three CSV files onto my storage account into the input folder. The last time we created an input folder, input data, with the name input data, right? So these are nothing. This ABC CSV had only some columns, like I'll show you. If you go to click on this and go to edit, it will show you the preview. Say preview. I had just name and salary, just some dummy file. DEF also the same thing I had. Okay, so dummy. Okay, so okay, upload this file. I'm going back to data factory. What I'll do is I'll create a new pipeline. What we learn is we have an activity called metadata activity, get metadata activity. We'll use this. So first in get metadata activity, what it asks is a name. Just we'll not change the name, and these are just timeout and all. Timeout is when it is trying to access the source which we are connected to, right? We'll directly go to settings. Here general you can put your name and description whatever you want. So when you're actually building the pipelines, you'll definitely put the actual reason for this activity in the description. We'll go to settings. What we'll do is we need to create a data set so that it will point at our files. So in get metadata activity, I'll create a new data set here itself. If I go to new, I can create a data set. I'll go to data set and I have to create Azure data lake storage gen 2, continue. Then all my files are CSV files. So I'm selecting CSV files and say continue, and I can use the existing linked service because we create a linked service which connects to a storage account. So whenever I want some files from the storage account, CSV files from storage account, I can use the same linked service. If I want a different file for the same storage account, I can use the same linked service. If I want to use a different storage account or a different source of data like SQLDB, then I have to use a different linked service. So since I have created it last time, I'm using the same link service for this storage account. Then here I have to point at the files. I'll point at just input data and I'll not select the file. So it is actually pointing at this folder only. Okay, I'll say okay. Okay, so in settings, I created a data set and data set is using my existing linked service. Okay. Then comes the next thing. It is asking for a field list. For get metadata activity, it wants to know what I wanted to work on. So in field list, what all do I have? When I click on new, it will give me an argument. So in argument, I drop down. See, there are so many options like child items, exists, item name, item type, lost modified. Okay. First I'll go with say I have created a folder, right? Where I did not point at a file when I created the data set, right? So when I have pointed at a folder, if I select child items here, it will give me all the contents of the folder in the output of this get metadata activity. Okay, so there I have selected a folder in dataset, and here I am coming to the field list, and here I am selecting child items as the argument. So for this get metadata activity, you will define what it should do in this field list only. There is nothing else. There are no other options for this to define this get metadata activity. Only it is field list where we have to define what it is going to do. This data set you are defining where it should get this data from. In field list, we are defining it what this get metadata activity should do. Okay, so I am asking to find the child items of this data source. I selected child items. I'll go back. I'll publish this first. I'll validate and run this, and I'll show you what is the output. I am validating this and say I'll debug so that this will run. So when it ran, I'll go to the input and see what was the input. So input was data set was delimited text one. So and type was data set reference parameters. Field list was child items, which I have selected. When we go down, so data set was, it is just giving you the name of the data set, and it is not giving the name of the folder because the folder name is in the data set itself. When you check the output here, you got all the names of the files that are present inside that folder. If you see ABC here child items, and the JSON format of data is given here like name abc.csv type file, name def.csv type file, name dummy.csv type file, name emp.csv and type file. So these are the four files in that particular folder. If you go back and see input data, uh, storage accounts, containers, the data set is pointing at this input data. When you go into the input data, you can see there are four files. The same way, this get metadata activity, when you have selected the argument as child items, it has fetched the child items, like the inside items of that particular container. Okay, now we'll explore what are the different arguments that we can use in get metadata. So instead of child items, if we want to get exists, okay, so then if we say exists, it will check for the file or not. For this, what you have to do is you cannot point at that folder. You have to point at a file. So I'll go to input data and I'll say abc.csv. Now what it will do is whenever I run this, it will check whether the abc.csv file is there in the location or not. Okay, we'll publish this and run this. And say validate and debug. Okay, when I say output, exists, I selected the argument of the exists, right? So the output is true since the file is there. Okay, so because we have I was checking for abc.csv. So since abc.csv file is there, it said it is there. So what I'll do, I'll check just for the sake of it. What I'll do is if I am checking if abc1.csv file is there or not, it will check for exists and it should return false value. Let's see. Validate debug. When I see the output, it has gave me the output as false because the file is not there. Fine. So that is a argument exists. Now there is something called okay item name. I have then I need to select an item which is existing because if abc1.csv is not there, it will give me an error. Since abc.csv is there, it will give me the name of the item. Okay, Vishal. So you can just ask me, I know the name of the file, then why am I again returning the name of the file? I'll tell you. We'll just run and I'll show you it is returning the name of the file. In the output, it will show you the name of the item, abc.csv. What is the use of knowing the name and again getting the output is you can read the name of the file, like name of the file name as output of this activity, right? When I have different activity of the after this, say there is something called copy activity after this. In this, I can refer to the output of get metadata activity and note the name of the file and use it to do any operation on that. So for that sake, the output of get metadata activity can be used for that. The argument as item name. Then we have item type also. Okay. So I'll tell
शशांक
you.
एट अ टाइम ये एक ही फाइल का नाम देता है लेता है क्या?
हाँ एक ही फाइल का नाम देता है और एल्स इट विल गिव मी ऑल डिटेल्स ऑफ व्हेन वी से चाइल्ड आइटम्स ना फोल्डर में जो भी चाइल्ड आइटम्स होता है उसका देता है
ओके,
ठीक है
लाइक इफ यू वांट टू डू सम कंडीशन लाइक कि एक से ज्यादा दो फाइलें हैं तभी तो नेक्स्ट वाला पाइपलाइन चले तो वो अलग से रहता है उसके लिए कुछ
हाँ
फंक्शन?
हाँ हाँ we can
अच्छा,
get the all the child items details and we can find out if that particular file name is there and we can do the condition. We'll execute that also. We'll see that also
ओके
moving
ओके.
forward. Now we'll just we'll see item type. So item type when we select we can just publish and see. I'll tell you. If there is an use case like there is a folder, there is a different service that is bringing some file into the service, okay, into that folder. So daily morning, your pipeline should check for the folder whether you got that CSV file or not. Only if you got that CSV file, you should process that file. There may be some issue, and that service may bring one CSV file there, then your pipeline will run. But if there is an issue, if that service will bring some Parquet file or JSON file into that folder, it will check for that file with the same name. If it is in Parquet format, it will return the type, right? If the type is wrong, you can design the pipeline that the pipeline should not run. Fine. So for that reason, we can use that item type also. I'll debug it and we'll see what is the output of this. So the output is, it is type of file. If it is a folder, it will give me a folder. It is a directory, or it is file. If I am pointing at a folder, to the folder, it is a file. So when you can use different this also item type, then you can see last modified date. So if you're getting a new file every day, you can check for last modified date and you can put a condition, and you can see that if the file is placed today or yesterday. See if there is a new file coming to that folder every day morning for processing, right? If the file has not arrived there, if only yesterday's file is there, you can see that the date of that file is yesterday's date only. So there can be, say, the same way, if there is an abc.csv which is coming to this folder, daily morning this pipeline is processing this abc.csv. If we use this last modified option, right, what it will do is it will just see the last modified date of this particular abc.csv file. If the file is placed yesterday only, the last modified date would be yesterday's date. If it is file is placed today, the last modified date would be today's date. So based on that, we will decide whether to process the file or not. For that purpose, we are using last modified date. Like real-time scenario, for that purpose, you can use it. Or else you can also, there may be use case where you are just fetching the last modified date of the file and you are storing it somewhere. That may also be the use case. So if I run this, on output, I can see the last modified date. Okay, so here the last modified date of the file is 21 to 2025. It gave me this file. Fine. So what else we have in this? So last modified, then we have size of the file. Okay. Definitely. Like many of the times we'll be using the size of the file also. What we'll do is we'll give the size of the file as the output of this get metadata activity, and we'll use some if condition activity here, and we'll check the size of the file. If it is more than say 10 MB, then process the file, or else don't process the file. We can use something like that, because there will be real-time scenarios where when data is processed and put there, it will be more than 10 MB, or else it will be less than 10 MB. If you know that in before only, then if you know that for sure, you can put a condition like that. So for that thing, it will return the size of the file here. We'll just validate and debug this also. Okay, so here we saw size is 111. It gave me in the KB, I guess, bytes only. It is in bytes, so it gave me the size in bytes only. Size, then structure. Okay, what we'll do is there is a different activity, and we will combine both this activity and build a pipeline. So we got the idea of get metadata active. What I'll do is I'll change this to folder only, and I'll use the child items. Okay, I'll go this. Okay, I'll use the field list as child items. Okay, now in the folder, it will get me the list of all the file names. Fine. So now I have another activity which is called for each.
Hello, Shashank.
Yes,
Hello.
yes,
So in the field list, whatever the number of task is there, only
yeah,
at a time, only one it will be run.
yes. Only one you can
So
use.
if we want to run multiple option, then
Multiple option, you can use more get metadata activities, but you can use, but I think it'll. What happens is while using this, you will generally you'll use one only. You can have that like in real time scenarios, you can check for both size and name of the file also. You can just add it here down and you can use it. Child items, not child items, right? If you're using item name and item type, okay, we'll do this also. Wait, input data abc.csv. Generally, we'll go with one condition. What you asked is right, but okay, say publish. Okay, we selected item name and item type, and we pointed abc.csv. We'll run this and see. The output, you got your item name, item type also. You can select both of them. Generally, what we'll do is we'll go with one condition, because what happens is uh, you can use both the conditions also, but when we are using if condition, we'll just check for this output. We'll select one output and see if the size is more than the file size, just run the pipeline. Or if the name of the file is that, we'll run the pipeline. In like maybe we can use it as you have asked. Both the conditions also you can get it, but generally what we do is we'll go with one condition. It's working for multiple condition, multiple field list also. You can add more. Okay. Last modified, you can get all the data on the output. You can use them. Generally, we'll be using one and make the just generally we'll use the get metadata activity to just check for the condition and the kickoff pipeline, so that it will check in the folder whether the file has come there or not, and we'll kick off the pipeline. We'll trigger the pipeline. Okay, we'll go back again. So we can use multiple field list also. Just delete it. I was showing something, right? Okay, I'll go to this. I'll just point out at the folder and select child items and say publish. Okay, this is fine. Okay. I was using for each activity, right? So we have something called a for each activity. What does for each activity do is it will take inputs of list of items, and it will perform the same type of activity for each of the item that has come into this for each activity. Okay, so the items that are coming into the activity where we get it, it can be from an array also, or we can get the items from the output of this get metadata activity also. Fine. So what we'll do is we'll first check the output of this get metadata activity. We have abc.csv, right? We change this to child items. Then we'll run this again, and then we will connect it to for each activity. Okay, this is running. Then when check the output of this, you can see there are all the four file names. You got it here as abc.ddf, dummy, and emp.cf. You got the four names. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll use a for each activity here. We'll connect it to this on success get to for each activity. In for each activity, what we'll do is we'll read the all four names from this get metadata. Each name, like there are four names in the list, right? We'll read each name from this get metadata activity and perform a same operation inside the for each activity. Okay, so for first we should be giving the settings here. This is a general tab, and we can just change the name for this activity and give the description. We'll go to settings here. When you select sequential, it will do one after the other. That is better actually. When you go to items, we need to describe what are the items for this for each activity. So we'll describe as get metadata child items of get metadata. That is the items we are pulling into for each activity. So the items for each activity are the get metadata child items. So here, so this is the option for add dynamic content. So when you click here, you will have the options to give the expression here so that you can select the output of this get metadata activity. So here activity outputs, so you have so many options here. You can put some parameters, system variables, functions and all. We'll use those also. So basically here we want to check the output of this activity. So output of this activity, what we want? We want the child items of output of this activity. So when we say get metadata one dot child items, we'll get metadata one dot output dot child items. Okay, so it is reading the child items of this activity. Then we'll go to activity. In for each activity, when you say this is the edit button, right? When you click on edit button, this is another canvas where we have to define what will happen to each item of the for each activity. So what I want is I want to put a copy data here. Whenever I get the name from the output of that get metadata activity, I want to pick the name from there, and I have to put the file from pick the name based on the name of the file. I want to copy the file from that location to a different location. So for that, I'll you make use of copy data activity. I'll go to source. In source, I'll say we'll create a new data set which says Azure Data Lake Storage, and we'll select CSV file, and we can use the same linked service because it is connecting the storage account. Okay, so here I'll select only input data, and I'll say okay. And source, right? I'm selecting the source, right? I can come here and say open. Here it will show me what are all the details it gives. So in place of file, I'll say add dynamic content, and I'll say uh, here I should get okay. What we have to do is we have to parameterize this copy activity. We'll go to parameters. Create one parameter which is item name. Okay, parameter is nothing but variable kind of thing where the value is keeps on changing. Okay, we'll go to parameter, we'll go back to connection. When you say file name and you say add dynamic content, you get item name here. So you are using the parameter value here. So okay, and you say okay, and you go to pipeline. Here you have to define what this item name is. So here we click on this and it will give me the option for add dynamic content. And here I will select this as current item. Current item dot name. Current item will have a name. Okay, so what is the current item here? We'll go back and see. We'll go back to pipeline. In get metadata activity, we have an output, right? So we read the whole output into for each activity. In that, child items are first is this. There are four child items. The second is this. The third is this. Fourth is this, right? And when we selected for when we went to for each activity, we selected the output of get activity as reading into this. So uh, for for every run, we select the sequential, right? So for every run, for every run, we are selecting the name as uh, parameter of our copy activity. So for every item, there are two things here, name and type. So in this item, we are selecting the name of this item in the copy activity. If we go here, yeah, we go pipeline activity, copy data activity. In source, what we have done is we created an parameter. In source, we created a parameter. Parameter is nothing but a value which keeps on changing. Okay, so in parameter, we created a parameter and we use the parameter. It is a value that keeps on changing, right? We put it in our name of the file name here. It's a file path. In file path, we selected as input data. In place of file name, we gave this parameter. So we have to define where the value of parameter comes from. So in source only, when you select the parameter there, here it will ask what should be the value of this parameter. So for the value of the parameter, we give as the item and item dot name. This is coming from where? Just a second. When you click on here, say add dynamic content. So when you see the current item, for each current item, you click on this, it will select the item, but we don't want to use the entire item. We just need the item dot name. So as we have seen in the output of get metadata activity, it will pick up the first item's name here and it will put on the source. Then I have to send this to sync. So what I'll do is I'll create a different data set so that I can pick up the file from there, copy that file and put it in my output folder. We have a different container like output, right? For that also we can use the same link service because link service is connecting to the storage account. Okay, and here I'll say where my out should be. That would be my output data container. Okay, just a second. So we say okay, okay. Now what we'll run this and then I'll say what actually happened step by step. So we'll come to pipeline. So we'll run this and see if everything is all right. Debug. What it should do, it should copy all my 4 files from my input folder to output folder. Right? Okay. So when you're running this, you can see first get metadata activity ran. That activity is showing up here. Then it will go to for each activity. So in for each activity, we have 4 items. So this copy data activity should run 4 times. It will show you 4 times here that it has run. It will show you here. So it has run first time and again it is going to second time. Okay, so it has run for the fourth time also, I guess. It is done. So our target was to copy the 4 files into the output folder. We'll just go to output folder and see first containers output data. So our 4 files have come here. So in this pipeline, what has happened is, so we got what is the output of get metadata activity, right? Get metadata output. We have this details of 4 files. In for each activity, first we have selected as to read the output of from the output we want the child items of this get metadata activity. So we read the child items. So when we say child items, we'll go and check again the get metadata activity. You'll see the output. We are selecting this first item called child items. Inside these child items, we have these details of 4 files. Okay. So we selected the child items. So inside this child items, these uh, uh, child items, 4 items have come to for each activity. So when for each activity is running, uh, we went to activities, and in the activity, what did we say? We created a copy data activity. In this, what we did was we want to read the name of the item. So in for each, as the name suggests, in for each activity, once it is processing, it will take the first item. In first item, what we need the name of the item. So what we did was in copy data activity, we went to source, created a data set which is reading a CSV file. It is default pointed at input folder only. So we opened this to parameterize this CSV file. I mean, this copy activity, we went to parameters. We created one parameter. So a parameter is used to read the changing value of this parameter. So we put the parameter here. So what it will do, here the value would be changing. So what the value is changing, right? So what should be the value, what it would change is will define in here on the source activity. So whenever we created the parameter there, it will show that parameter here, and from where it should get the value, So here what did we add? We just set the dynamic content for each item. It will show current item. There's only one thing for each activity. You will get one item for one run. So that current item we have selected, and we said that for current item we need the name. So we selected the name of the current item, and name of the current item, where it is going here. It is selecting, it is used to select the current item name to select the file. We have selected that file, and we in sync, what did we do? We just asked it to put it in output folder. So every time when the pipeline is running, what it is doing is get metadata is giving the whole output to this for each activity. For each activity, from its output, it is picking up each item. In each item, it is picking up the name, and it is sending it to copy data activity. And copy data activity is performing the copy from for each file. First item came, it took the name, the copy data activity ran. Second iteration, it took the item, it took the name, then the copy data activity ran again. The same way, you can see the running of all the copy data activities here. For each is running. First copy data activity, it took the first file name, second copy data activity, second file name, third and fourth. So it copied all files one after the other into this output folder. This is how for each activity works. Okay, this we'll use in real time also.
Hello.
Yeah,
In earlier session, you have explained about the copy data, where
yes,
CSV file transferred to the SQL database.
yes,
In this particular task,
yeah,
the copy data
yeah,
where from CSV file
yes.
is transferred from where to where?
Input folder to output folder. So in first session, we had our source as this input data, right? We had our source was same. The first session also our source was this input data only, emp.csv file. Now also our source is same. We did not change the source. In destination, what we did was in first session it was SQLDB. Okay, in first session our copy pipeline one, in this copy data activity in sync we selected SQLDB. So the file data was going into SQLDB. But in this pipeline, in our copy activity, we are using the sync as again our storage account only. When I have created this, I selected the same storage account. I select the same linked service and have selected this output data folder. That's why the file is going from input data folder to output data folder. Got it?
So output data folder is existing in your computer, your machine.
No, it is in my
It's in
storage account.
cloud.
Cloud only. Everything is cloud
Yeah,
only.
yeah.
My machine
Perfect.
only browser is there. Only this Chrome browser is on my machine, nothing else.
Okay, okay. So actually, another doubt is that
Yeah.
you have made the condition of three CSV file, right?
Yeah,
And the
I
head.
I did not count the CSV files. I did not make the condition for that. What I said was whatever is in this folder, those should be copied from one folder to another. I mean, get metadata activity. When I have created this get metadata activity, I have said that see for all the child items. I have not specified any uh, number of child items. I have specified only what are all the files in the folder. Fine.
Okay.
When I selected this, it will if even now also if you put extra file this input data, two more or CSV files, when you run this folder, it will copy those also into this output folder.
Okay. So instead of CSV, any other file is there, it will be perform the same.
Yeah, it will do it. What you should do is uh, child items, it can be Parquet file also, anything here, get metadata activity, it will not do any problem. When you go here, copy data activity, but here you are only copying the CSV files. Maybe you should have a different copy activity to select a different file, because when I am creating this copy data activity, right? Uh, Here I am looking for only CSV files. When I created this source, I said that select CSV files only when I have created this data set. If you want to select a different file, you should create a different data set which will point to Parquet file. If you have a JSON file or a Parquet file on your source, create a different data set and create a different copy activity, so that that will also copy this file to your output file. Because whenever we are creating data set, when I have described what data set will do, data set will definitely point at the type of the file. A single data set can't go and fetch all Parquet files also and JSON files also. Okay, because while creation of data set will definitely point at type of the file. Right. When we create this data set here, we'll create one more data set, not a problem. New data set. When we are creating a data set, first we'll select the storage location or what type of source. Then we have to select type of file. So when you are selecting that, when you are parameterizing based on dataset's name and all, you have to decide between which type of file that has to be copied. So here I have selected CSV only. If you want to have another file also, JSON file or XML file, if you are knowing that file is going to come and I have to copy, you create a different dataset and different copy activity, and that also will run. Here only you can have a copy, another copy activity also, just like this only. Okay. If your input folder has another, say it has another two Parquet files, create a different copy activity. This copy activity will copy, not this one, pipeline two. You put another copy activity. This copy activity will transfer CSV files. Put this copy activity. This copy activity will transfer your Parquet files. Because in dataset will compulsorily point at a particular type of the file. Okay, got it?
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Shashank, if it is possible for you to like show one example with condition like if folder contain three file only, then for each loop that should work. Otherwise, it will like pop up some message like the full like files are not present something.
It should run only when only there are three files, sir.
यस यस या सम लाइक कंडीशन कि यहाँ पे सिर्फ तीन ही फाइल होनी चाहिए फॉर एग्जांपल क्लाइंट से, तभी ये फॉर ईच लूप वर्क करे. अदरवाइज
Okay,
वो कोई
okay.
मैसेज पॉपअप कर दे कि फाइल्स आर नॉट कंप्लीट और मिसिंग समथिंग.
मैसेज पॉपअप करना जरूरी नहीं है क्योंकि
नहीं, हाँ मतलब कोई ऐसा कंडीशन.
okay, you can use that also.
if conditions are like if it work.
Yes, we'll do that. But what I see, you gave me an use case, right? We'll perform that use case, but not now. We are just going. I just wanted to explain activity by activity. We'll learn what activity does. Then we'll build all the use cases of yours also. All students, whatever the use case is there, we'll build all those.
Okay, fine.
Fine.
Yeah, no
First,
problem.
we'll know the what each activity does.
Mhm.
Then in combination of all these activities, now we can build use cases.
Okay,
We'll get a solution easy at that time. Fine.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
that is also easy only. So just a second.
And any real-time business case scenario where we'll need such pipeline?
This
Like,
one is every time we can use this, man, because we'll have what happens is there would be some service that will
hmm,
be putting the files in this container.
okay.
What happens is only copying is not needed. What will happen is in for each activity, there may be bigger pipeline inside this for each activity that is performing all this activity on each of the file. Here we are performing only copy data.
Hmm.
There can be combination of so many activities, right? Here you can have filter also. Here you can have data bricks activity also, where you're picking up each file, you are doing entire operation on this, and then you're going to the next file. Copy data is just an example that we are performing on each file.
Like a user is uploading some files to a particular folder on a server, and then we are copying it to
Yeah, it's
cloud.
not uploading also.
Right.
There can be
Right.
another service which is putting files in this folder
Hmm. Okay.
on real time basis. Like daily morning, what happens is, say example, there is some sales that is happening. So daily morning, that sales file, cumulative sales file, that is being put in this storage account folder. So what our pipeline should do, pick up that say files from this folder, say 3 files or 4 files or 5 files. If the sales are more, there will be 5 files. If the sales are less, there will be 3 files or 4 files. Okay. Then what our pipeline should do, it should pick up all the files from our source folder, and it should perform same activity on all the files. Then what we'll do, we'll use a for each activity, pick up all the files. Each file will perform this task. Inside for each activity, here we put only copy data. It can be notebook also. If you put notebook in this for each activity, right, then we can pick up that file, run this notebook for each of the file. Or we can put some filter activity, if condition activity. It can be anything. That is at any scenario. In for each, you can have anything, not only copy data. It will repeat only. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll know more when we'll go to use cases. Okay. Here we are
Yes.
just understanding what each activity can do, and inside this for each activity, it is as per our use case or as per imagination, whatever also you can put it. When we get to know all the activities, you can put a combination of activities inside this for each activity and do. Okay. So okay, so now we build a small pipeline, so it is running, it is taking the files from source to destination. That is good. Okay, what we'll do is delete this. Mm, We have something called filter activity. We'll employ this here and we'll try to filter. Okay, in filter activity, what is it asking? Go to settings. This is nothing, name, description, and activity. We'll go to settings. We'll say items. What should it read when you connect this? When you go to filter, when you click on this, go to item content. It should read the child items of get metadata activity, right? Okay. Then come to condition. What is the condition that filter should perform? Okay. So here child item dot, it will check for the name. It should check for the name. That is my requirement. So item dot name, it should be abc dot csv. We'll put this in double quotes. Okay, so what I am trying to say is item name should be abc.csv, then only it should go. Then for this, we have something called a function here. Parameters, function, system variables, where are the functions? Okay, activity output parameters. We should have an inbuilt function here which says contains this. Just a second. Functions. Functions, we have logical functions which will say functions, we have something called contains. Contains, come to activity outputs, item dot name, comma, will describe abc dot csv or say this. Just a second. Uh, you hover on this, it will teach you what to do. Returns true if dictionary contains a key, list contains value, or string contains substring. For example, the following expression returns true, contains this of this. Yes, single quote only. That's what I did. Thanks. Current item, comma, abc.csv, but it should be name, right? Yeah, it contains item name should contain abc.csv, then only it will filter and go. Okay, so in for each activity, what we'll do is come to settings. Here we can use this, but we should get the output from filter, not get metadata activity. Filter output, filter one activity dot output. Okay, so we'll run this. Validate, debug. अरे यार debug मारा है हाँ. So filter input is this condition and child items of this get metadata activity. Filter output is it found abc.csv file in the child items. Then again it went to for each input is copy data. It is getting true items filter output. It should get abc.csv, right? Wait, for each activity output activities. we'll check the output of the filter. So in here we should get item should be output only. When you go inside in copy data activity item dot name, yeah, this is fine. Open dataset dot item name of the item only, this is fine. Or a string, the float value type of object. Function length expects its parameter to be an array or a string. Okay. Yeah, value of value dot name. Item dot 0. The output of the filter is hmm, so activities copy data activity value should be 0. Uh, valid template settings dot value for each activities Yeah, now we'll go to our output data and see refresh. So abc.csv, it is still at 9:14 only. Yeah. So is input data fine. Go to output data. You should have abc.csv copied at 10:12 p.m. So this pipeline worked. The output of the filter is shown as a value, right? So what did it was what change we did was we went to for each activity, went to settings, we selected as value output of this filter activity, and inside that we selected the value, and inside the value we selected in copy activity, we selected as that item dot name. So that is the only change we have done. So here we are using filter activity to filter out. It has items and conditions that in items we have giving what to select as its input. We selected the previous get metadata activities child items as its input, and it condition we said that the item dot name should contains abc.csv. Okay, when the name matches, it will do this. It will say okay, and only abc.csv file has been filtered. So let me delete these files in output data, and we'll try again so that we are confident of what we are doing. So if I run now, only abc.csv file should get filtered because of this contains condition, and it should go to this for each activity, right? So when we say debug, so go to output data, refresh. We got our abc.csv just now 10:15 p.m. Okay, so in filter activity we for items we are declaring what items should be used as input to filter, and in condition we are giving what should be the condition. So while giving the condition, there are so many inbuilt functions, you can use any of them. It can be more complicated ones also. While building any use case pipelines, I mean real-time scenarios, we'll use more functions. So these using these functions is easy because you can just select one, and when you hover on it, it will tell you what how it should be used inside the brackets, what should be given, what should be the parameters or arguments that goes into these functions. So there are date functions also. Generally you use date functions to convert from UTC or convert to UTC values. The same way we use the logical function contains logical or math string functions. Okay, so that's how we use filter data to filter out. You can have different other conditions. If you're passing not strings and you're passing some values, then we can use filter and see what values can go, what values cannot go. That also we'll see. Today we'll see we have used a trigger, right? Last time in building first pipeline, we attached a trigger and we set the time, and the pipeline was running at that time. So we'll use a different trigger now. Go to add trigger, go to new edit. There are different types of triggers, right? Okay. So what we'll do is create a new trigger. Normally, if we select schedule trigger, it will ask us the time when to start and in what intervals it should run. We will see at storage events trigger. When you select storage events trigger, you can define a particular container or a folder in which you can, whenever the file is placed, no, this pipeline will start running. Okay, so Azure subscription, there is only one subscription. You use pay as you go. Come to storage account name. come down, select the storage account name, Archana SA22, which our folders are there. Container name is input data, right? Input data. Okay, so blob path begins with, when you say this, in the container itself, we just have, say, another file def. Okay, blob path ends with, say, .csv. Okay, and if you say whenever the blob is created or deleted, you can have both these conditions met. We'll say when blob is created. Blob is nothing but the file that is there. Ignore empty blobs. No, yes, no, no, yes. Anything works. If the file is empty, it is asking you to ignore or not. Okay, so here what I am asking this to do is, if my file is starting with def and ending with .csv, def.csv, when I create this trigger, it will always check for this file in the location. Which location? Input data location. Here I have given the container name. Here I have to give the container name. Here I have give the path. Since I don't have any path in my container, I am just giving the file name. If you have a folder, if you have a folder and a subfolder, then you can give the name as blob path begins with, or else we can create a container also here. We'll create a container here, add directory, say dummy. So what I'll do is, a blob path begins with dummy slash uh, and ends with CSV. So what it will do is, it will every time it will check for dummy container, and if it has a .csv file, the trigger will execute. We'll continue this. Okay, this is just checking for any file is there in this dummy container with .csv name or not. If it is not there, you can say cancel and say continue, and we say create. We say publish. We are attaching the trigger to the same pipeline. Okay, so what we'll do is, basically what should happen whenever I put some .csv file to this dummy folder, this trigger should understand that the file is there, and it should check fail to get subscription status on storage event. Where is our storage event? Archana 22 only, no? Okay, why is this failing? The trigger should get activated is the problem. Input data blobs dummy.csv ignorant plot true. The runtime says is stopped. Why is it stopped? So we'll put a folder in this. We'll put a file in this and check. abc.csv, continue. Now it will check the file is there. Say okay. Okay, cancel, start this, publish. So actually it should, I'll check the settings for this storage event. What happens is whenever you upload the file, whenever it checks that there is a file with .csv in the particular folder, this pipeline should run. For that, I think there is some issue with the storage account. That's why it is not coming to started status. It is creating some issue to trigger to start. Uh, okay. స్టోరేజ్ ట్రిగ్గరే కదా ఇది, బ్లాబ్ ఈవెంట్స్ ట్రిగ్గర్. Okay, I think there are some settings changed on Azure platform itself. Actually, when you are selecting storage trigger, it will not ask for event grid resource provider. Only for events it will ask. But here is asking for event grid resource provider to your subscription. I'll see if this will be built or not and use this. Okay, let's discuss about this storage trigger in next class. Azure guy is making changes day by day. Normally, when you go to triggers, we have three types of triggers, right? We have schedule trigger, we have storage events and custom events. For storage events, it will not create an issue with event hub or event grid. But what happens is for custom events, it will create an issue with event grid and all. It needs event grid to be created previously only, so that based on this event grid, it will work on this. But for from now on, for storage events also, it is giving an issue. I'll see what it can be done with this, and I'll discuss the same in this next class. Okay, so today we learned get metadata activity, filter activity, and for each activity. And what we'll do is in the next class, we'll get a use case scenario, and we'll what we'll do is we'll learn two or three more activities, and then we'll use all these activities in a real-time scenario, and when build and we'll filter a bigger file with more data. We have something called lookup activity also and if conditional activity also. After discussing more those two activities, we'll select use case, I mean real-time scenarios, and use all these activities to build those pipeline. As someone was asking, right? If we can, there was an use case. We'll build that also after discussing three more activities. We have some basic lookup and if condition activities. We'll do that also in the next class, and then we'll build the real time on these using these five activities. Okay, guys. Any doubt with this filter or for each activity? Yes. If there are no doubts, if everything is good, we'll wrap this up here. Meet you in the next class with more activities.
Okay.